I am no gun expert, but I'm pretty sure if you're having trouble loading it, you don't want to brace the butt of your shotgun against your groin. Well, Tim Walz, as you know, faces a problem along with Kamala Harris, the top of the ticket. They face a problem with male voters. So on Friday, they made a very public show about rolling out a strategy into the weekend. First, he was going to sit down with an interview with Michael Strahan, you know, a former football player. So manly man stuff there. Of course, that was on Good Morning America, not on Fox NFL Sunday. So I don't know who they were appealing to with the Good Morning America audience. It's not the most masculine audience in the world. It's mostly women. That's okay. After that, they rolled out a huge photo op where he was going to go hunting for pheasant with all his hunting friends. And who among us doesn't go hunting with all our friends and a bunch of reporters and photographers so that they can capture everything? Because it's really not a hunting trip. It's a photo op. And even that, perfectly well staged and managed, was a complete disaster for Tim Walz. I mean, take a look at this manly man going out hunting. Just take a look.
A few moments ago, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz was out pheasant hunting in Sleepy Eye, Minnesota, taking part in the 12th annual Governor's Pheasant Hunting Opener. This comes, friends, as we know that they're going to have Walz doing sort of a blitz, reaching out to men, young men, voters they know, 50-50 swing vote. They know they need to get him.
Yes. Can I just say, Hope Walz is giving a pheasant hunting glam this morning, okay? That is the governor's daughter. That you see her in the back. Look at this. She's making pheasant hunting. Fetch is happening. She's making fetch happen.
A few moments ago, Minnesota Governor...
Pheasant hunting glam, fetch is happening. It's a woman wearing an oversized jacket and an orange hat, but whatever. First of all, you can see the creases in the shirt because he just unpacked it from his Eddie Bauer mail order. Number one. Number two, this is all the B-roll that they got, right, of the hunting trip. Do you notice something missing? Do you notice one element of a hunting trip that you don't see in any of these images that they put out there? Anyone? If you see what I see, if you're noticing some critical element usually employed in a hunting trip that you don't see in this picture, I'd love to hear you. Put it in the comments below. We'll see if you can notice exactly the thing that I'm noticing, because maybe it's me, but if you're going hunting pheasants, you need one more element. That not just the orange hat, not just the Eddie Bauer shirt, not just the dude with the cowboy hat. There's something else. So there is a Brokeback situation going on there, but there's something else missing. I think you know what I'm talking about. It's one of these. That's right. The guns, the pew-pews. That is correct. Thank you, chat. Thank you, live chat, for figuring it out. So someone finally handed Tim Walz his gun, and he says that this is his gun. He claims he bought this when he was shooting trap, he said. Now, you tell me, if you own a gun or if you know someone who owns a gun, you tell me if this looks like the behavior of somebody who is working with his own shotgun that he owns and uses on a regular basis, or for that matter, if you think this is the behavior or posture of someone who's in any way comfortable around a firearm. You tell me.
Governor, what kind of gun is it?
This is a Beretta A400. I bought it when I was shooting a lot of trap, because it has a kind of their patented thing, a kickoff. So when you get old, it doesn't hurt your shoulder as much.
Okay, so he was asked what kind of gun it was. He said it was a Beretta A400, which I'm told costs base model about $2,200. So, I mean, bully for him. I can tell you that my wife Meredith saw this and was, as he was struggling to load it in this very awkward fashion, and she said, "Oh my God, this hurts my heart. Could I please have that shotgun? Could I promise I will take better care of that shotgun. I will pay more respect to that shotgun." My wife is the gun nut in the family. She's from Oklahoma. But listen, I am no gun expert, but I'm pretty sure if you're having trouble loading it, you don't want to brace the butt of your shotgun against your groin. That just doesn't seem like the normal operations. Does it? He also said, I don't know if you heard it, that he bought this because he reached a certain age and the kickback on it doesn't hurt your shoulder as much. Go get those manly man voters there, Timmy. Doing a hell of a job. I mean, honestly, what in the hell were they thinking? They thought this was going to work. I mean, you look at this, you realize immediately what's going to happen. And of course, it did happen. Yeah, how can you blame anyone for doing this? It's like they were begging for it. Absolutely begging for it. How do you let this happen if you're running this campaign? I'm starting to think that there's sabotage within this campaign. I'm starting to think that there are some Biden loyalists who are a little pissed off about how things went down in July. And so they're like, oh, no, this is great. You look fabulous. It's wonderful. I don't know. I'm looking at myself in the mirror and it reminds me of someone. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I look familiar. Nah, you look great. You know what? You know who you look like? You look like Rambo. That's who you look like. Really? Because I don't want people to make memes about me and make fun of me and mock me. No chance. Timmy, you look great. Absolutely great. No one's going to make fun of you or make memes about you. Trust me.
It's not quite right. How do you get it back?
Governor, what kind of gun is it?
This is a Beretta A400. I bought it when I was shooting a lot of trap because it had a. It's not quite right. How do you get it back?
Yeah. Trust me, no memes will be made. You're doing honestly, the only meme will be a Rambo comparison. Maybe John Wick. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's John Wick or Rambo or both. But no one's going to make fun of you. You know, if you're sitting there with a bunch of, Gen Z women and Gen Z TikTok stars who are gender binary, and you're trying to figure out how to appeal to manly men, you're already a little bit behind the eight ball. And if this is the best you can come up with, the hunting trip and the interview with Michael Strahan, we want you to sit with a football player. Oh, how about that Michael Strahan? He really appeals to George Stephanopoulos' manly audience. You've already lost. Don't even try, right? And if we could just switch over to CNN here, because Scott Jennings, our fave over here on the Larry Town Hall Media Show, he sort of summed it up right. I'm going to let him sort of button it up for you, and I'll expand on it a little bit.
It was a rough week. I mean, her faves are down. They're struggling with, the front page of the New York Times this morning, Democrats struggling with African-American voters, particularly African-American men. This gender gap issue is real. It's a real problem. And you see the Democrats reacting to it. And I think what they are now finally in October, the election, coming to realize is that a lot of men think Democrats care more about dudes who want to become women than dudes who just want to be dudes. And no hunting, cosplay, or cringy videos is going to change it. The bet is made. Working class men, whether you're black, Hispanic, or white, persistently, consistently do not believe the Democratic Party, and specifically Kamala Harris, are going to do a thing for them. They've been told that they're the problem, and I suspect they're going to rise up on election day and tell the elites who told them that you're wrong.
Yeah, really well said. And let me just button that up a little bit, because I loved how the CNN panel erupts with indignation when he said that the only men that the Democrats seem to really speak out for and try to champion are the men who actually want to be women. And they're all like freaking out. Let me just say, as a man and as a father of sons and daughters, don't spend the last 2 decades demonizing me as being toxic in my masculinity, demonizing white men in particular as the problem of all of society's ills, that we are the reason why anything is bad in this country. And at the same time, tell me that the only men that deserve praise or elevation and in some way, some level of virtue that you bestow upon them, that the only men that gets that virtue and praise and elevation are the men who stand up for the rights of their daughters to kill their own grandchildren before they're born, or the men who invade my daughter's locker room and pretend to be a woman and put her in danger. Because that's all we've heard. And then don't get a little indignant when we decide, you know what, I'm not going to keep voting for you because you've told me you don't want my vote. In fact, you've told me you don't even want my participation in society. You bet your ass Kamala Harris and Tim Walz and the Democrats across the board have a major gender gap problem with male voters. And it's because you've told us you don't want us and you don't need us. In fact, you've told us we are the enemy. So don't act indignant and shocked and surprised when suddenly we don't go along and do what you tell us to do. More from this CNN panel.
She had a terrible week. It was a terrible week for the Harris this campaign. You had Gretchen Whitmer having to apologize to the Catholics across America for mocking them with some bizarro Dorito thing on there. You had Governor Elmer Fudd out hunting and not knowing how to load his shotgun, using the wrong gun. At the same time,
Who's Governor Elmer Fudd?
Governor Walz was out there. Looked like Elmer Fudd. You know, be very, very quiet while hunting for rabbits.
Oh my God.
Right? So he can't load his shotgun. He's trying to appeal to hunters. He can't load the gun. He's using the wrong gun. At the same time, you have Barack Obama in Pennsylvania where he derided people who own guns. Remember, people in Pennsylvania were bitter and they clinged to guns and religion. Remember that in 2008? So they're trying to appeal to those folks at the same time while he alienates black male voters by chastising. So they had a really tough week this week. She had a terrible week. It was a terrible week.
Yeah, that was David Urban, of course, one of our other great favorites over there at CNN. And I'm glad that CNN continues to let them be on the panel. In fact, this was a unicorn moment where both he and Scott Jennings were on the panel at the same time. So it was really 3-2, which is just completely not fair. I love Dana Bash not understanding what he's talking about when he says Governor Elmer Fudd. It tells you how clued into the news cycle and the American zeitgeist she is, or any of these journalists are for that matter. Yeah, it was a really, 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 really bad week for the Harris and Walz campaign. And in a minute, you're going to see exactly how that's reflected in the polls. It's bad. In fact, it's super duper ugly.